Mindset Mashup podcast, here we are. Let's go. I'm excited for this one. Luke, I'm going to do a short introduction. Just let me know if I've missed anything out. But I'm here with Luke Hodson, the founder of Nerds Collective. Got a few accolades there. One of them, Forbes Under 30. I know you also award-winning agency. And Luke, your focus is primarily around culture, but understanding the culture from a business perspective and how businesses can leverage the culture in order to basically influence them, also get them on board with them. You work with some big brands,
Yeah.
Nike, Timberland, and plenty of others. So Luke, come in, join me on the conversation. Have I missed anything out?
No, that's a fair overview. Like we were formerly Urban Nerds. That was the name, right? And we used to run club nights around sort of grime music back in the day when we were probably 17, 18. That was our first move. And then we created like a bit of a movement. It was like grime music at that time was only really being played in like raves outside of the North Circular. It was too hood. It's like no one was taking it on. It was too peak. It was like it was surrounding counties that would have these mad raves on like a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. It was, and that was where you could only go and see if you want to see like people like Crazy Titch, Bruiser, like it was when we started, it was like, Roll Deep were just kind of coming onto the scene and doing bits. New and Generals, Pay As You Go. It was like a mix of kind of like grime that moved in, garage that moved into grime. So we that's what we started at, right? That was our thing. Became big. It was like we're probably one of the biggest nights in London that managed to like bring that talent and put them into live spaces. We kind of mixed it up, so we'd have like drum and bass, jungle, bit of bashment, and grime. And by doing that, we were able to kind of get these artists through, because normally people would just say no way, you're not having it. And we did have rave shut down. We had it was a carnival special event that we did, and it had the Jamaican flag colors in the artwork, and it got shut down. So, and they were just like, there was, it was still tough to promote that sort of talent at the time. So we started the night, done well, became like a bit of a brand. We started understanding that, this subculture that, we were so passionate about and paid so much homage to and loved, shaped me 100%.
Yeah, same.
It was everything, right? When I was a kid growing up, like going Wembley Market, getting DVDs, like turning up to raves, looking at, watching these MCs that were like my heroes. I could, back lyrics, off. I knew everything. I worshipped it, and it was like heavy. It's black culture really was like such a big influence. Like the top boys in my area, top boys at my school were all about that life, right? And I just loved it. Became obsessed with it. And yes, we did the night that grew, and then we started to see brands coming into the space. Like, oh, how do we get part of what you're doing? Could see there was a drink to be made from it. And then I said, oh, let me just create an agency, because I felt like I could, everything that I grew up around, I was like, they know more about culture, and that's really about culture. I have exposure to that. I can bring that through, bring everyone through, and we could just take over this marketing game arrogantly, like naively. So then I set up the agency. It took a year to work. I didn't get any clients. I lived on £400 a month. It was tough. It was like every day, like knocking on doors, ringing, like adding people on LinkedIn. I got kicked off LinkedIn 3 times during that year from like spamming. And I was just at it hard. It was, it was a hard year. Everyone was like, it's not going to work. It wasn't working. The only person that kind of backed it 100 was my missus. It's my wife now. And then, we got our first job, Super Dry. And then, it became a bit of an agency. And what we do is help brands understand culture, so they can kind of play a purposeful role within culture and then align themselves to the kind of lifestyle surrounding that culture. So it's like a value trade between a client and a culture. And we believe the culture is everything, like I mentioned to you previously, it's how you identify, it's how you prioritize spending on products. It's, it shapes or helps express your ideology. It's how, you associate with people that are all part of that community that you align with is, you know, for me, I think it's everything. And if you've grown up in and around a subculture, you understand the power of it, right? And how important it is to you. It's everything. It's like your football team. It's more extreme than your football team.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all I wanted was to be part of that grime culture and, you know, be in and around the people that were pushing it forward.
No, 100%, and that was. I completely agree. There's so much there that I'm going to be unpacking, Luke. But just to sort of want to go back to like the hustle days, as you said, getting blocked off LinkedIn, knocking on doors, because I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship that it's easy to be touched over, isn't it? Because it's not the sexy part of it. The sexy part of it is the results and the Forbes 30 under 30 bit. But I think you and I both know, Luke, that's the knocking on doors that get you to those bits. So
yeah.
Where was your? I'm big on mindset. Like that's for me.
Yeah.
I believe like mindset plays such a big part in the way that we carry things out. So where was your mind when you were knocking on doors, getting spammed from LinkedIn and stuff?
I was a hustler since a kid. Yeah, like literally since primary school, hustling people out of like go-go's, Pokemon cards. I was making money out of that from year 4 and 5. Like I made 150 quid in year 6 from Pokemon cards, and my mum I never got bought a Pokemon card in my life. It was just trading, getting like hustling people, you know, blagging people, and putting pressure on and getting. And then I went to secondary school and I was like selling donuts in and around the school. Right, you know, I had a couple of people that I'd get them working for me as well, give them little pots with a bit of money and some sweets, and we'd just be shot within the school. So, and then it got darker for a bit, you know. As you get older, you know, you're exposed to other things, and you know, I didn't think have an ethical code. I was just like, I'll do whatever it takes to get money.
Yeah.
But really, what that created from a young age was the mindset of I'm doing whatever it takes to get money. It's like
The resilience.
100%. The stress of that stuff when you're a kid and young, selling. Like, I used to sell. I used to sell licenses as well, like national identity cards, student cards, all these mad things.
Yeah. So you've always had the spirit. That spirit's always been part of you.
Yeah, like a refusal to accept not getting what I decide I want to get.
I feel like that's the grime scene. Like because you said earlier about how the grime scene really shaped, like had a big part of your identity, and I can really relate to that. I can really relate to that too, because I remember the days where you could only listen to it on pirate radio. I remember the days where that people were getting shut down from just going there, and I remember then it started to develop. You had risky roads, they started coming, and you had all these that started coming through, but it was not popular. It's not like it is now.
No. It was like one track you might share on your phone, Eskimo. Pulse X. A couple people might have that vinyl. Like lunchtime, you go to someone's flat nearby and you might just MC over it or Pulse X, or someone would bring that tune to a house party and then everyone would jump on and like spit bars on it. It's like there was limited. It was like
it was a hustle for them. It was a hustle. I mean, you've had a part to play in getting them through as well, which is wicked. And I just think for me that's always been a part of me. Like, oh, why should I give up? Because one of my favorite guys was Gigs. He was one of my favorite guys, and I watched him get shut down over and over and over again. Then he had some problems with the legal system and stuff like that. And it always inspired me, as you said, that like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop now. And I feel like that resilience.
It's like I'm not particularly bright. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have a lot that's going to guarantee success. Do you feel me? It's like it's hard to explain, but success is never just there.
Yeah,
like you'll have to kill me before I give up. It's like I literally felt like that when I was starting the company and it wasn't working. It's like I was rocking on the floor, you know, in the toilet. Like I basically had paid four bags to a wrong account. That was everything I had, and I was like, and it's not working. And I was like, it's like everyone was like, give up, and to give up was to die. It was like.
So what did you do? Like, how long did that take? How long? Because that is one of those things where when you almost lost it all. You're starting from scratch.
Everything.
So where were you
I
What was your thoughts? I know it's hard to.
I remember it clearly. It was like I felt physically sick. I was like, I can't, like, what do I do? I'm broken. My life is over. And but I remember it's like I need to win. It's like my vision was to win, right? I had to win. I was a drug addict and an alcoholic for years, right? So by the time I set the agency up, I was clean a year. And I've been held back by drug addiction for so long. Yeah, everything ruined, broken, like just fucking up everything for so long. Yeah, it's like the low self-esteem you suffer as a result of thinking you've got potential but coming short every day. And the physical, it was mad. It was it was a painful experience at such a young age. Being exposed to drugs for so long. So I knew I had to. So now I was like, this is my way out to demonstrate to the world I am someone, I am something, and I'm not just a waste man. It's like, and now it's not going to work. It's like, what do I have to live for? Yeah, I have to make this work. I'm never giving up, never giving up. If it means that I have nothing forever, it's like, fine, I'll walk over glass, hot coals. I am never giving up. And it's like, and that's been the story. It's never easy. It's always hard. I'm never blessed, like sat back and be like, sick, I've made it now. Never, never. It's like, it's always been hard. It's always graft. It's like, I've done well. It's like, I've got, 3 houses now. I've got, I'm set up, but it's still at any point it can be taken away, right? It's like, you're only ever good as your last month billing.
Yeah, you got that hunger. I feel like you've got the motivation. You got the motivation not to become complacent. And
Never.
I suppose to move on to the brand, the Nerds Collective, I'm super impressed by your brand.
Thank you.
And I'm sure does the vision of the brand have a big part to play on not being complacent.
Definitely.
Where you are.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's like life is hard. The brand needs to feel like it is a reflection of me, which is like that never give up mentality, quite a hard exterior, and a willingness to go further than anyone else.
Yeah,
I'll always go further. It's like that's what it's going to take. And I think that spirit, people know that if they come to me, their brands are going to get the benefit of that as well.
Yeah.
Innovation, the refusal to accept like the kind of the norms of how things should be done. I have a non-traditional experience, which means that I can think, in ways that are not confined to, what the industry accepts.
Not conventional.
Yeah, not at all.
And I feel like that's valuable. That's super valuable now more than ever.
Yeah.
I know that I've seen in your LinkedIn, you started to explore the Web3. You're quite big on the NFT stuff. And I do want to get into that.
Yeah.
But something that's come to my mind, I feel like I've had the entrepreneurial mindset for a while, and it's taken me a long while to really find my route on what it is that I want to do. And you said about starting as the holding up raves and things like that, then that moved into culture.
Yeah. Has
your journey developed even more since then? Have you dived into other areas?
Yeah, I think it's like, look, it's becoming, what we do now is just really strategy, kind of big data, insight, building kind of creative platforms. It's like, it's working a lot further up the channel in the company. It's like working at a much higher level, because I'm kind of trying to help brands set up from the very top of having a proposition that complements culture and then can be engaging and it's inspiring to youth, right? And we start with the kind of hard, cold facts that we search out through research to bring that to the table, to give them a kind of a platform to build from. So, I'm not as close to, like, I'm not on the streets, like hanging out, I'm slightly further away. So we take a more scientific approach to ensure that we continue to be at the forefront of what, youth culture looks like. But I'm always, have this fear of things going to be taken away from me.
Yeah.
I think it's from, when you're an addict, there's you lose everything constantly.
It's daily. You lose your ability to control it. And I've been there myself, man. I know exactly how that feels. That not trusting yourself, that definitely has a play to part. I've got to catch myself some days. I'm like, George, relax. You're different. You're different now.
Yeah.
And it's tough though. The reason why I asked the question about has it developed is because I feel like something that I see in the entrepreneurial stage at the moment. Obviously, it's a buzzword. I'm not big on buzzword. Everyone wants to be an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Everyone wants to own a business.
yeah,
And to the people that really want to do it and they really want to put in the work and never give up
yeah,
and things like that, what message would you sort of give to them for someone who's navigating their way through on what it is that they want to do? Because obviously you've had different stages of your organization,
yeah,
and I feel like that
yeah.
might be valuable.
Yeah, I think like you got to remember that it's not easy. It's like a lot of the time I feel like a fraud. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I am, I'm just pretty dyslexic and I have like ADHD as well. It's like there's a lot of things that go against me, when I compare myself to peers in the industry. But it's like self-belief and also it's really like not giving up, because sometimes I don't have self-belief. Sometimes I feel like I'm shit at my job. I'm useless. I've got nothing. I've been blagging it this whole time. But it's actually like having that, trying to fake it till you make it, right? To try and build that esteem in yourself. And why not you? Why not you?
How do you do that? How do you go, right, I'm gonna get back up?
And this is what I'm great at, is getting back up. I fall down a lot. I've had some dark things and some really troubling times within even the career, right? And the history of nerds, it's like it's been tough. But I have 24 hours where I'm like, I feel shit, and I'll be like, oh, feeling like I can't even get out of bed. And then within that 24 period, bang, I'm on it again. And I'll look at some inspirational like quotes. I'm quite spiritual, do a lot of meditation, prayer, like try and connect to God. It's like, look, for some some inspiration to pick myself back up again, and I'll be on again.
Yeah.
Not giving up. 20 minutes, 24 hours to allow myself to feel bad, to feel sorry for myself, and then back on the horse.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, and I love that, because I think that's also a message that is not conveyed in entrepreneurship. It's like, don't stop, never stop. But I feel like sometimes
Never.
actually you got to take that minute to be able to get to be better when you come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To
So
feel the sadness, to feel the
yeah,
loss.
you got to acknowledge it. Like
It
if you just
happens.
suppress it, all that happens, it just gets bigger and bigger over time. Then one day it might just knock you out of the game, and that'll be
Yeah, yeah,
you'll
yeah.
never be able to do it. And so, Luke, it sounds like I'm not just saying I'm a mindset guy. I love mindset, but it does sound like your mindset has a big part to play with how you perform, not only on a day to day, but how you manage to scale a business to the
Yes.
level of accolades, Forbes under 30.
Yeah.
I know as well you've won another award as well. Was it an award-winning cultural agency as well?
Campaign magazine winner, like 30 under 30. I think like you said, mindset it is important, but I have to continue to feed that mindset. I
Yeah,
read a lot of inspirational books. I believe in that the kind of power of positive thinking. I write checks to myself with amounts, that I had to achieve by a certain time. Right, I posted like stuff on my computer, like never give up. You're only ever like you've only ever done 1%. Those kind of like things that remind yourself never, that you're going to go up against it. It's going to be tough. It's going to seem unrealistic, because it is unrealistic
yeah.
based on my experience. You are more likely to fail, but I continue to feed that. And I had vision boards, in my house stuck on my wall, of what my first flat was going to look like, what my office is going to look like, clients I was going to work with, the Rolex I was going to have. And it's like I've got everything that I've ever visualized on that board. I've got, and I, continue to recreate those boards, and it's so important because it's so hard. I think.
It's a focus point as well, isn't it? Like those
Yeah.
days, those 24 hours, you've almost posted so much stuff around your house that how can you not get back up when you've got all these things around you that are reminding you, this is why I started, this is why that
Yes.
I want to do it, And I think that's such an important message. I think people often give up, not because they haven't got the ability to go forward, but because they forget why they started in the first place. And for you, you obviously thought, no, do you know what? And I think being an addict, it's a secret blessing because you experience the pain of letting
Sure.
yourself down every single
Every
day.
day.
And I feel that I fear losing that control. So I'm constantly like I do similar things to you. Like I pray a lot, connect with God, inspiration. I mean, my Instagram, I'm always like putting out inspirational messages. I'm always saying inspirational messages on there because
Yeah.
it's not only for the people, but it's also a reminder for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love speaking. I love speaking that into the world because I think our words are so powerful about how we go and live our life. Um,
Yeah.
and it works. Like if negative thinking works, that means positive thinking works too, right? Like,
Yeah, but the energy to have a positive thought is 10 times or 100 times the energy needed to have a negative thought. It's easy. Naturally, you sit in negative thoughts.
yeah,
Uh,
we want, because we protect ourselves, don't we? It's like
yeah, for sure.
those days that you don't feel like doing it, you'd be like, oh, but I've worked so hard recently, like, and you start making excuses, and then one excuse leads to another, then it leads to another.
Yeah.
So
You're
Luke,
out.
I want to have a conversation. I think one of the bits that I was most excited about having you on the podcast was to have this Web3 discussion and this
Yes.
NFT discussion,
Yes.
because I think you're an expert on culture. You've worked with some of the world's biggest brands,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering how you think Web3, sorry, NFTs, crypto, how you feel that's gonna impact now the culture
Yeah.
and
I
how
think
we move forward.
the first thing you asked a question, like, how I changed, how I've evolved to get to NFTs and Web3. I started, with experiential marketing. Then we moved to kind of like influencer marketing and a more kind of cultural marketing, and then insight and research. It's like I am continuously evolving, seeking out new information that gives me that competitive advantage over anyone else. Yeah, the next iteration of that, and I think, the single most important technological advancement in all of our kind of time and moving forward in my lifetime will be Web3 and the capabilities of blockchain.
Yeah.
And I think it will transform culture in so many ways, right? It basically, in short, enables communities and cultures to come together and kind of monetize their might. Yeah, for the first time, artists can make 100%, royalties,
Yeah.
right? It's like communities can also benefit from supporting, like in grime, for instance, back in the day. It's like you could have had a token that's for the grime fan, that as grime builds, that coin becomes, increases in value as a result of your direct impact. It's like we can own something together,
Yeah.
and all benefit from the upside.
Yeah.
That's what blockchain enables, rather than
Yeah.
it being like one person kind of holding all the power, that sells, to the many and ultimately appropriates and kind of pulls and repackages that culture and sells it back to the culture. It's like the culture can own the culture.
Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's mad, and the power, that in itself is just going to revolutionize and change everything. Like the mechanics and the frameworks of, whether it be like DAO networks or just NFTs that can unlock and fund like platforms and movements is incredible. Like
It's the transparency as well, isn't it, of
course,
what the blockchain technology does.
yeah.
Have you had any of your clients on the blockchain yet? Have you had any of those, doing like setting up NFTs, or is that
We're gonna
confidential?
no, we're gonna look this year. We'll launch some big kind of NFT campaigns with clients, right? And I think it's just pushing them in that direction. And really, it's not quite Web3. I don't think anyone has really mastered Web3. It's Web 2.5, where it's a kind of hybrid between Web 2 and Web3. And it's using kind of components of NFTs, getting the brand on chain, right?
Mm,
And kind of setting them up really for Web3 in a year or 2 years.
okay, that
But
makes sense.
you know what? It's like it's mad. It's like with technology, you have two groups of people. It's like one group that are inspired by it, and one group that literally feel offended or antagonized by the idea of it. And I would say it's, the latter is 70%. So, I'm just trying to help upskill and excite and kind of inform clients about the potential, because it's going to change everything,
Yeah,
whether you like it or not.
yeah. It's going to change, and I think the the way it's going to change is going to be disproportionate to the amount of change we've seen since, I think, the likes of Facebook, Instagram have come about as well,
Massive. For real.
because that's developed a whole culture and a whole different life that I don't know, but I'd imagine we're roughly around the same age, and that's definitely transformed my life. Certainly yours, obviously your business
Yeah.
almost built on the likes of things like this, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a disproportionate amount of change than what we've seen so far since, as I
Real.
said, the likes of Facebook, which is in 2004.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know, obviously, you work at some real big brands. How do they respond to NFT suggestions and advice? Are they like, oh, I don't know about that, or are they quite open?
I think like the most innovative brands like Nike, are notorious for kind of staying at the sharp edge of like technological advancement. So you can see that straight away they bought artifacts, right? You know, instead of like coming up with an NFT, they bought essentially the biggest kind of virtual fashion company in the world, and brought them in house. That's already kind of improved their core capabilities, right? So instead of trying to learn, they bought.
Making moves.
And yeah, that's big. It's like Adidas kind of, you know, had a nice entry as well in terms of what they did with Bored Ape Yacht Club and some other kind of like NFT influences, and you know, the content that they create, the capsules that they dropped with certain NFTs, and it's like the linking of kind of virtual wearables and like real life rewards, I think was good. It was a start. I think majority of brands, you'd be surprised of how slow they are to react.
Yeah, and I think this is what I wanted to touch on this, because I think as small businesses, coming back to small businesses, my audience is generally entrepreneurs, people who are thinking about setting up businesses or already in business, and they're sort of making money. And what would sort of, from a cultural perspective, from a business perspective, what do you think they need to be doing right now to sort of make the most out of this?
Look, I didn't go on I approached this like a savage. Yeah, read everything I could, listened to podcasts, you know, read articles, read white papers, you know, whatever it took, like aggregated and accumulated as much information. It's like that's the mentality that you need to have. You as an entrepreneur have the agility and the opportunity to stay ahead because of the determination and the flexibility to be able to pivot around a new environmental change.
Yeah,
stay ahead of the curve. So if you're a kind of an entrepreneur and essentially you're gonna make money out of being on the sharp edge of anything, then it's your business to understand, you know, what the future of tech looks like.
I think as well, if you, as you said, we've got the resources now. We can't even have excuses like, oh, I don't know how to find out about NFT. You Google that, you YouTube that, as you said, podcasts. There's no excuse. Also, I think from what I understand, I don't have a big understanding on the blockchain or Web3, Web 2.5. That's interesting, by the way, what you said about that. That makes a lot more sense to me now.
Yeah.
But this, am I right saying that this generally has the ability, if you pivot your small business like this, it's got basically the opportunity to have a significant impact on the revenue of your organization if you do this right?
Yes, I think it will, unless you evolve with Web3, you'll be left behind. That's the reality. So it's the threat of not keeping up.
Yeah.
It's the threat of not being prepared, because more millionaires will be made now with this than ever before. Like, this is the new gold rush. It's like, where do you want to be when you got your kids? It's like, where were you when, you know, when there was that gold rush? Did you get on it or did you not? You know, look at all of these kind of $1 billion like unicorn companies coming through that are basically built on, you know, NFTs and blockchain. It's like, it's everything. So it's like, you know, you might not necessarily have a direct reason to jump in, but you need to be aware of it and the frameworks and opportunity to provide your business.
Yeah, because it's a lot more, isn't it, than just NFTs? Like, the actual technology of the blockchain is insane.
Massive.
And that's going to play a part, as you said, of every business eventually, I'd imagine, just because of the transparency of it.
The mechanics, the storage of information, the framework that will streamline a lot of what people are already doing. It basically enhances and refines ways of working to enable you to kind of transform and move into a new space.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not an expert. I'm just like a nerd about it. I approached it like I knew it, like anything, right? With a desperation to understand it, to stay ahead. It's like I spent, but as soon as I got so clean and sober, it's like reading books constantly, teaching myself anything, you know, with markers, pens, dead dry books at night, reading that shit, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, like soaking all of that stuff in to stay ahead. And that's the mentality and the mindset that I have. And this was just another example of something I needed to upskill and learn about.
Yeah, so you just sort of conveyed the same thing that you've always done, just into this. And I think that's good advice. Like, if it's small businesses listening right now or one-man band, I think they need to be jumping on and looking at some research about this, because as you said, otherwise you will get left behind, just like you did when Instagram come out and you didn't start posting pictures, just the same as you didn't start posting on TikTok. It's just like that, but people get left behind.
So I like even just go onto my Twitter, yeah, Nerds LDN, and just follow everyone that I'm following.
Yeah,
Simple.
that's an easy
That's
way.
just
That's an easy move. There you go.
yeah.
Um,
Just follow everyone, and that will be your source of information. And just use Twitter now for Web3 only. If you want it, like just use Web. That's your source of like information and intelligence will come through that. It's
yeah.
easy. And then it's like, you know, there's lots of Spotify playlists and podcasts that are great. It's like, you know, was it just an expensive gift is a good podcast. But there's loads, and just like, you know, in the gym, chilling out, driving, whatever, just put that on, and by the end of that, you'll know more than 99% of people at the minute. So
100%. And while you're following everyone that nerds follow, make sure you drop them a follow as well. We can't forget. we can't forget that. Luke, one of my biggest things that I want to achieve in my life is basically to change the culture of leadership.
yes,
And I think as leaders, we hold the opportunity to almost have the happiness and affect the happiness of so many other people's lives. And I think a lot of the time leaders currently take that for granted.
yeah.
And I'm wondering, what's your stance on leadership? How do you tackle leadership? Obviously, being a business owner, and yeah.
I think like I find it hard. It's like, you know, like I'm a flawed individual, you know, with a limited life experiences in a lot of ways. You know, to have and to lead people that are generally older, probably more intelligent, more articulate, better educated, is tough, right? And I think it's just about understanding your shortcomings, you know, and what I don't have, but understanding what I do have, which is kind of a motivational mindset and a belief that anyone can do anything, and continuously giving people opportunities beyond, you know, their experience. Like you know, when I started, I had so much potential that I felt like wasn't given the opportunity to explore. But I see, you know, the younger people, or anyone would be like, do this. I like prove to me that you can do it. You know what I mean? It's like demonstrate that you know you can step up to the challenge. I think that's where I can inspire people, and that's a quality that I think is unique or admirable in terms of my leadership style. But you know, equally, it's like, you know, it's hard. I find it hard to communicate myself, so I can come short in comparison to a lot of my peers.
But I think what you said there, though, Luke, about you have a genuine belief in people, and I think that is the fundamentals of a good leader.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's such an important thing, and like the creating opportunities for people as well. I think that's massive, and I think I think that is the sort of leadership change that we need in the world. That we need more people that are out there actually believing in the people that they hire, or just the general people, just general
I
humans.
agree. I agree.
Because it goes a long way. It goes a long way. I often say, I think one thing that got me out of all the madness that I was into at the time was just my mum believed in me. You know, like she just believed I'd get out of it, even though I didn't. And
Yeah, and like just as you know, my mum and dad, I grew up in a loving, beautiful home, right? I just was attracted to the darkness. You know what I mean? It's like I proactively sought it
yeah,
out,
yeah,
put myself and my family into, you know, a lot of stress. My house was robbed, you know, numerous times as a result of what I put my, you know, what I did.
yeah,
And I think what, you know, stopped me from dying was, you know, the love that I was brought up with.
yeah,
Something that just like in my darkest times, a little crack through the window of light that was essentially like the, you know, how I was nurtured as a child, that stopped me from dying and just, you know, falling off a cliff. It's something called me back, and I think, you know, I believe it was them.
Oh no, I'm 100% with you on that, Luke. I can relate to every single bit of that, and I think coming back to leadership, that's something that I think leaders can proactively do, and
Definitely.
just provide that little light for them. I think often as
Yes.
leaders, you take out all the rubbish, all the pressures on the people. You don't back them, you don't believe in them enough. Then wonder why they don't perform the way that you need them to in order for your business to scale,
Yeah.
and that's something that I really want to start making moves, and I am already making moves and changing. Luke, look, I know we're coming up to that time. I know you got to shoot off. I know you got to shoot off soon. So for you, what should we expect from nerds in the future? What's coming up for you?
I think, you know, the ambition is, you know, we're at COVID, is to continue to scale, right? Looking at introducing some products, some kind of tech-based products around our services. We're also investing a lot at the minute. We've invested in some kind of tech companies So I'm continuing to diversify what we do to just from a service-based, model to a kind of a product-based investment model. I think, I just want to keep growing and ultimately get to a place where I can guarantee my children's financial security and their kids' financial security.
Yeah.
That's the ambition, right? It's
Legacy.
yeah, that's it. But I do a lot of spirit. I help a lot of people, drug addicts, alcoholics. That's I want to. That's critical. It's like that spiritual journey as much as it is.
I saw you donate. You donate to a lot of charities, don't you?
Work, yeah. We donate, 5% of our profits every month. We give to other charities. We're going to start a blockchain-based DAO, which is like anyone that invests in this DAO, we'll create this kind of fund that then we work out where we're going to push it in terms of underprivileged inner city kids, work out what we can do with this fund, and anyone can be part of it, and everyone will have voting rights. We have the governance through different nodes within a blockchain that everyone with a token gets to vote on and be part of that journey. I do a lot of my free time working, sitting down with alcoholics and addicts to try and help them. It's like that's kind of my primary purpose, and then my family, and then work.
No, I love that, man. And do you want to plug your socials so people know where to find you?
Yes, it's Nerds Collective Instagram, Nerds Collective Facebook, and then Nerds LDN on Twitter. Shout me, like, if anyone wants any advice, wants any help, support, I do my best to try and answer and respond and give you my time.
Luke, my man, thanks for showing up. I feel like
I'd love to chat. Thank you.
I'd love to chat to you again in a year, just to see how far, just to see how much further that you guys have got. And yeah, we'll catch up. But for now, if you made it this far, go subscribe to the channel, follow on the socials, go follow Luke and the Nerds brand. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of them. Take care. God bless you all. Let's go.
George safe, bro.